y'all, welcome to my channel. I'm Amber, and today I'm going to be sharing with you the 2 books that I read this month, and then the next 5 books I will be that I will be reading. So I'm going to be changing up how I make my videos. I want to start talking about the movies I watched, but I watched way too much, and I should have split this up in the month. But yeah, I'm not going to talk about them right now, just because there's just no point in doing that at this moment. So we're just going to start fresh with things. But yeah, this month has just been me watching movies and trying not to let my anxiety get to me. Reading just hasn't been working for me this past month because of my anxiety. So yeah, the book that I DNF'd was In the Dream House, and this is a memoir about Carmen. I'm just gonna say her first name because I don't know her full name, but anymore. It's been so long since I've tried this book. But anyways, Carmen is sharing her experience in her I think it's really her first relationship after, when she realizes that she is part of the LGBTQ plus community. And I don't know specifically how she identifies. So, because I DNF'd it, and it's been a while. But anyways, she enters into this relationship for the first time, and it's abusive. So she's talking about her experience with that, and also kind of like pulling back that curtain when it comes to the fact that people are scared to talk or to like share that part with the community, which is that in any kind of relationship, no matter what, abusive relationships can and will exist. But I can understand why they would not want to share that, why people would want to share it. So, but she does, and I was really looking forward to hearing her story. But as I said, I've been experiencing anxiety, and I do not like short story collections. And even though I don't think this book was meant to be a short story collection, it very much comes off as a short story collection. They're very short chapters, like 1 or 2 pages long, and each chapter has its own thing. So like it's not a continuous story throughout. And people have the right to write however they want, but I just don't enjoy short story collections. I didn't really enjoy the fact that it felt like the chapters were just starting to like go off somewhere, and then she would probably end the chapter, and then the next chapter would be something completely different. So I just didn't enjoy that aspect. I do not like short story collections because of that, because a lot of the time the short story collections that I have read always seem to be where they have a beginning, a middle, and then just no ending, and it always feels abrupt and dissatisfying. And I felt that thoroughly with the amount that I read in this book. I was very much interested, and I do love her writing style. I just, do not really like short story collections, and as I said, this is what it came off as for me. So, yeah, there's that. Then I read The Martian by Ware, and if you do not know what this is about Mark Watney, who, alongside his other team members, were on a mission to Mars, and their mission gets cut short because of a dust storm that was threatening the MAV, which is their way to get back up to the space station. And as they're trying to reach the MAV, Mark gets hit by, I think, one of their thingamajigs. I don't remember what it's called, but they all assume that he has died there, and sadly, he was not dead, and so he is left on his own to try to figure out how to survive until the next mission, which will be 4 years. And we see his experience trying to survive and trying to get to the other MAV that they had already sent for the next mission. I really enjoyed this book a lot, but the reason why I chose to reread this month was because I watched the movie, and in the movie, in this story, there is a character named Mindy Park, and when I was watching the movie this time, it became clear to me that I'm pretty sure that they whitewashed that character, because I think the name Park is an Asian name, and so I wanted to read the book again to see what the author had to say about that, just to see if he like specified in any shape or form. And in reading this, I realized he does not describe any of the characters. All you have to go off is their names and their personalities, if even that. Um, so I'm just like, wow, that was really helpful. It is not. But the fact that I still like really believe that it is an Asian name. And then as I was thinking more about it, I do feel like the casting um was kind of like where they only chose people of color when they couldn't get away with choosing a white actor, which is so problematic. But I guess they thought that Mindy Park was a great area, which it kind of is, because people apparently didn't talk about that. And also, even I didn't notice it until I watched it this time, and I've rewatched it several times in the past. So I think I've just become more aware of these things a little bit more. But you can let me know if you are watching this, if you know for sure that if Mindy Park is an Asian name, because I do think it's problematic no matter what. Just the visual that I get from the casting, how problematic that all seems. So, anyways, I do enjoy the book. The thing about the movie is that I feel like there's some kind of issues with how they treat the Commander Lewis in the book, in the movie, I should say, because in the book she doesn't like take over other people's job parts when they go to rescue him, and she didn't let her emotions like control her, which they show that in the movie. And then also Mark respected his commander enough to not do what he suggested when she told him not to do it, which again was shown in the movie that he did. So I just take a lot of issue with that part of the movie. I never enjoyed that aspect of it, just because I felt like they were making it all because she was a woman, she couldn't like control her own emotions. And then she took her power away from like trying to save him, because he ended up using the maneuver that she told him not to do. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. Also, it's really interesting in reading this and then thinking about the movie so closely is the fact that in the movie, Midge and Teddy, when because they clash heads, but you don't really like get the sense of that they're really clashing heads. They just have like a small disagreement. But in the book, it is clashing heads. It is two people like really just absolutely hating each other almost. Mitch does not agree at all with how Teddy was handling the situation, and he got really frustrated and really angry, and literally called him a coward straight out, and told him, and like cursed him out and went behind his back. And then after that, Teddy told him that if he could find a way to prove that he told him about the Rich Purdell maneuver, that he would find a way to fire him. But Mitch says, "Oh, you can't prove that it's me one way or the other." And since we're talking about it all hypothetical, I haven't committed to anything, so you can't fire me. And in the movie, it makes it out like he does like quit, but it doesn't show it in the book. And I don't think he does quit, because clearly he didn't want to, and he didn't care what City had to say about that, because you know what, you can't prove it, and he's not a coward. He was willing to take that risk, and he knew Commander Lewis and her crew enough to know that they would be willing to take that risk to rescue Mark. Um, like come on. um, I actually agree with it, and I actually found that part in the book so much more. I just loved that whole thing so much, and I wish that they had put that in the movie. It kind of makes you wonder why they didn't, but because that was like the best part of all of it for me, was just like, because I was so on the side of Mitch, like Teddy was being a coward. But anyways, I enjoy it. The sciencey bits of this, although they are necessary, can be a little bit boring if you're not into science type stuff. He does put it in layman's terms, so no matter what, you will be able to understand what he is talking about. It's easy to like get through. It's just kind of like boring in a little ways. But I love like the survival / having to travel from point A to point B to survive type of thing. It's one of my favorite like tropes. So yeah, definitely enjoyed those aspects. But it does get 3 stars. The movie has gone down in my estimate a lot, right? As I think more about how they treat certain characters and the whitewashing of in the casting. But yes, let's just talk about the 5 books I will be reading. As I said, I'm going to be doing things differently with my videos from now on. I'm like with the movies, I will be only talking about them after every 5 movies, and the same will be for my books because I don't want to put pressure to try to finish a certain amount of books in a certain amount of time, which is what I've been doing, and I always end up being disappointed, and frustrated with that. I just can't put pressure on putting a time limit on myself. So it'll be like the movies. For every 5 books that I read, I will talk about it. So the first book that I'm reading, that I'm already in the middle of reading, I'm not going to talk about because, as I've said when I first started making my videos again, I will not be supporting the author on my channel, but I am reading the books. The next one I will be trying to read is A Visit from the Goon Squad by Jennifer Egan. This is a novel, but I've heard that it kind of, and again, as I mentioned at the beginning, I don't like short story collections, but I have a feeling that this, from what I've heard, is that it has a short story feel to it, so I'm kind of like nervous about that. But this is about Bernie, who's an aging former punk rocker and record executive, Sasha, who is a passionate troubled young woman he employs, and Egan reveals their past along with the inner lives of a host of other characters whose paths intersect with theirs. And I guess music is like the central theme throughout the book. But the fact that we see other characters who paths intersect, it kind of makes me think that it's going to be written in a short story style, and I'm not very much looking forward to that. But since I did purchase this, and it is a book I've been wanting to read, I will try it. I will give it the actual effort, and just hope that it won't feel very much like a short story collection. And then I will be rereading the first book in the Song of Ice and Fire series by George R. R. Martin, the first book being Game of Thrones. Everybody should know what this is about, so I'm not even going to talk about it, but yeah. I am not 100% sure if I'm ready to get through this. I mean, I'm not going to go straight through them. I'm going to try to read one book in each set of 5 books that I have, but this is going to be an iffy one for me because I wasn't really sure thinking about wanting to read that at this point, but it came up. The next one is The Dream of Scipio by Ian Pierce, and I think I have actually read something or tried to read this or some other book by him, and I remember not particularly enjoying the writing. Maybe I'm not 100% sure, so I thought I would give this a try and see. So this is set in Providence at 3 different critical moments of Western civilization: the collapse of the Roman Empire in the 5th century, the Black Death in the 14th, and the Second World War in the 20th. It follows the fortunes of 3 men: Manlius Hippomenes, a Gallic aristocrat obsessed with the preservation of Roman civilization; Olivier de Noyan, a poet; and Julien Bernouve, an intellectual who joins the Vichy government. So the story of each man is woven through the narrative linked by the classical text that gives the book its title, about each man's love for an extraordinary woman. So we shall see where I land with this one, because again, I do think that I've tried this book or others before, so we shall see what happens. I am not 100% sure about this one. And then the last book is another one that I am not sure about if I'm going to like, because I did try it before and did not like it. And that is The Syringa Tree by Pamela Guyan. I never finished it, and I think maybe because it's been a while that I'll give it a try. So this is about a 6-year-old girl named Elizabeth Grace, who is a privileged child and bears witness to the terror of humanity. Excuse me. inhumanity that paralyzes South Africa under apartheid in the 1960s. Lucy's closest ally and greatest love is her Sosa nanny, Salamina, but their fierce devotion is complicated by stresses in the Grace family, by the violence, injustice, and intoxicating beauty of the country, and by a secret that must never be revealed. To soothe her worries, Lizzie escapes into the sheltering arms of the lilac blooming syringa tree growing behind the family's suburban Johannesburg home. As a contagious spirit of change sends those once underground into the streets to challenge the ruling authority, this national unrest inspires a personal climax. The unthinkable occurs, and Lizzie's view of the world is forever changed. It is interesting, but also I kind of would prefer hearing the story from someone who's actually experiencing it. Like, this is a white family who moves there, so we're most likely probably going to be getting a whitewashed version of apartheid, and I am not fully into that. So yeah, if anybody has read this, tell me, is it worth reading? Um, because the idea that is told by from a perspective of a white child is not something that I very much okay with. Like mm. I want to try it again just because I want to see where my thoughts go, but at the same time, I am not sure. But anyways, that's all I have to talk about. Those are all the books I will be reading and what I've read. I'd love to hear from you if you read any of the things that I talked about, especially the Syringa 2. I would love to hear your thoughts about that, and if it's worth um, reading. But other than that, I would love to hear what you're reading. And until next time, thank you so much for watching.